Let's talk about 10 things that agents need to be focusing on right now to become better and have the greatest year ever. Number one, taking ownership of what happens in your life and business. It is all too easy to blame escrow and title and the market and interest rates and the other agent when not looking at yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, homes sell and buyers buy in any given market. Anything you're not happy with that's happening in your business, you need to take ownership of. Because if you don't take ownership of it, then how are you supposed to control it? Do you really want to exist in just a little universe where things happen to you? Or do you want to be able to dictate how your business and life is? All too often, agents only look at the month, the quarter, or maybe a year. And that's obviously encouraged because we give awards every year. We look at quarterly results. You know, if you work with a coach, you talk about how many calls this month, how many new escrows, how many appointments. But I'm going to give you a piece of advice that's taken me a long time to learn. You need to play the longer game. If you're really in this to win it, understand that real estate is not a 30, 60, or 90-day business. This is a lifetime business. So when you're making your plans, you need to start looking at 3 years, 5 years out of what you want to accomplish and how to start making the small changes and the small increases to your knowledge base in order to hit that goal when you get 5 years from now. It's like I always tell agents, all right, the buyers aren't ready to buy right now or the sellers aren't ready to sell right now. They need to wait till next year or 6 months from now. You're still going to want their business and a deal 6 months, a year, or 2 years from now. Plus, they're the best referral source you have to build a thriving business where you can always count on having transactions to do. Think longer game, never shorter than 3 years. Plan for the month, but think 3 to 5 years out. You are tasked with becoming the expert. Nobody wants to work with someone that doesn't know what they're doing. Now, does that mean you need to know everything? Well, absolutely not. Nobody knows everything. But if you haven't read your contracts, you don't understand the negotiations, you don't understand an escrow process, a title process, maybe a probate process, a short sale process, if you don't know the differences in the neighborhoods and the homes and what it means in your marketplace between a 2-story and a 1-story and a 1970 built house and a 2001 built house and how much a pool adds in this area, well, you're not an expert. And why would someone want to pay you a whole lot of money to entrust you to sell their home or even represent them in purchasing a home if you're not the expert? This is the one I always get a lot of grief on. Scripts matter. If you go to an appointment, whether it's meeting with buyers or you're meeting with sellers to do a listing presentation, and you don't already know the flow of what it is you need to say and what to expect to happen, that means you're winging it. And I'm going to tell you right now, when we wing things, we have a really low batting average, meaning you're going to have good appointments and bad appointments. Why would you leave it up to chance when you work that hard to show your value to a buyer or seller and not know exactly how to address their needs and make this happen by not knowing what to say? The other agent is not your enemy. Our job as real estate agents representing a brokerage is to find a willing buyer and a willing seller and put together that transaction in both their best interests. The other person on the other side is not your foe. It is not some villain from a comic book movie. You need to understand that your job is to work with that person to find the best solution for all parties involved. They're not your enemy. One of my jobs as the director of sales and operations and broker of record for a large real estate company, Century 21 Peak, is to fix deal problems and keep the deals moving along. One thing I'll tell you is that I see over and over and over again, almost every single deal problem can be fixed by you picking up the phone and having a conversation with the other party that's having a problem. Sometimes getting into the forms and sending dictation of emails and car forms with legal documents and everything else will put somebody on the defense and they won't be on the same page. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of empathy to figure out where the other side is and a phone call of, hey, how do we work this out? This is my client's concerns. What are your client's concerns? Great. Here are the two solutions I thought of that we could probably get to work. Do you have any? Great. Let's take that back to our clients. Let's see if we can get it to work. Another one that I worry about when I watch the entire industry is that agents that really, really, really focus in on their marketing, on their track record of selling, on their social media profiles, on the reputation in the industry, how involved they are in the community, forget one important point. No client you ever work with needs to be serviced exactly the same or wants to be. Some sellers have things that are more important to them than there was your last seller. And buyers are exactly the same. You need to learn to ask the questions and see how things need to work for that client, what is important to them, and put that with your menu of tools that you have to be able to execute the way they need it done, along with inserting anything you know is going to work for their situation that you've learned by becoming an expert. But remember, every seller and every buyer is different. Please don't treat them the same. You know, over the last couple of years, COVID has really changed the way that every business works, let alone real estate. And one thing that is across the board is that agents have stepped out of working out of the office and attending events. Yet the good brokerages are still doing office meetings and trainings and roundtables and discussions and, lunches and get-togethers. You need to participate in your office. If you don't participate in your office and you don't participate in the activities, you don't know your fellow agents, you don't know your staff, you don't know your escrow, you don't know your lending, why are you with that office? It makes no sense. Because here's the one thing. You can take every online course there is and you can attend every seminar. And I'm telling you right now, you will never learn more than if you actually looked at some of your fellow agents and what it is they're doing and take some of their knowledge and insert it into yours. And you know what would be awesome? We're a community. Okay? This is a small knit community. I don't care if there's 7 bazillion agents in your marketplace or not. We're small knit. The same names come across as buyer's agents and listing agents all the time. We work together. But your office, if you're the right one, offers you the opportunity, whether the agent does more or less than you, is older or younger than you, has bigger goals or lesser goals than you. They've got something that works for them that is always good for you to hear. It's kind of like reading books. You can always get one good idea. Even if the book's terrible, you can get one good idea. And that one good idea executed on in your business may change your entire life. Escrow, lending, title, home inspector, termite guy. These people are not beneath you. Do not treat the other absolutely irreplaceable partners in your transaction as if they're the house cleaning crew. And by the way, If you don't treat the house cleaning crew, either for your own home or for your office, with respect, then that says more about you than it does about what job they're doing. And I'll tell you right now, having been around this for the decades that I have and being able to watch, I'll tell you right now, even top producers typically work less hours than our good escrow officers, our good title, and our good lenders. Okay? And your TC. Be good to those people. They're the ones that are helping you get a deal closed. They're there to solve the problems for you and call in favors for you. Always be good to your other partners in the transaction. Always. So we come back to when I ask agents to get into the business, or even ones that have been around a long time, I say, what is your job? And they go, well, to sell homes. Okay. To list homes, to represent buyers. Yep, that's my job. Okay. Perfect. That is. Your license says residential salesperson, so that means to sell it. One thing they don't tell you about real estate is that your real job, your number one job, is to find people that have the opportunity to say no to your services. That's a fancy way of saying you have to prospect. You have to call friends and family. You need to speak to past clients. You need to go knock doors. You need to offer value in the community where you want to work to give the opportunity to people to tell you no, they don't need your services right now. Or the opportunity to say, yes, I'm so glad you're here or in front of me right now because we're talking about selling. We need to buy. My cousin needs to buy a home. Whatever it is, you have to remember part of your job daily is to put yourself out there. And the idea is you need to be able to offer your services. And I want you to think about it to where you're giving the opportunity to the public to say no to your services. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody needs you. But when they do, you want to be able to be there. Because if you're not trying to be the best agent they could possibly hire, then you're doing our profession a disservice. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up.